Welcome in, college football fans. It is another episode of the Fanatic, man. Listen, we're here to talk Bruins versus Buffs. Another big time Pac 12 matchup. As I stated at the beginning of the year, man, the Pac 12 is the deepest conference in college football, man. I got my guy David Talks
You know
Buffs
what I'm
here,
saying?
and we're going to get into
Yeah,
it. So let's talk
yeah.
about it.
The fanatic. Where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate, A64. Yeah. The FANATTIC. The fanatic where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what
All
I
right,
see.
man. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit the like button. Hey, let's get this content out to more people so we can have good conversations in the comments. I like to talk in the comments, man. And when we have live streams, you actually can jump in on the live stream. David goes live a lot. What's going on, David?
Coach I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, man. The bus was off last week. My dogs were off last week. So, I was able to just kind of sit back and chill and watch football all day. You know what I'm saying? Talk about a little football. I dropped my first top 25 last week. Had some people up in the roar, but it is what it is when you do top 25 rankings.
No one can ever be. You never please everybody. That's for sure.
That's for sure. That's for sure, man. And listen, Colorado's playing at UCLA in the Rose Bowl. If you go into the game, why not get the tickets off of SeatGeek? Shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring the Fanatic, man. I'm a brand ambassador, so if you use my code Fanatic Sports, you get $20 off your first purchase. If you go into the game anyway and you got to buy tickets, why not save $20? It's right there below me, and it'll be in the description. Shout out to SeatGeek. That's right. All right, Dave. Before we get started, man, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can just find me, David Talks Buffs, on all platforms, mainly on X/Twitter and YouTube. Trying to come out with content pretty much every day for you, doing interviews and had you on, Coach I'll need to get you on again
That's
here
right.
before we wrap up the college football season. But yeah, y'all come check it out if you have any interest in what is going on here in Boulder.
That's right, man. And David is an alum of CU, man, and he lives in Colorado. So hey, man, he firsthand knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So not just a Prime fan, but also a Buffs fan, man. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's not keep the people waiting. Week 7, the Buffs were off getting rested and healed and hopefully, getting some of those people that were not 100% back to 100%. Meanwhile, UCLA was taking on Stanford. Stanford coming off the win against you guys, but they didn't fare so well against the Bruins. It was 42-7, and it was over pretty quickly. UCLA is pretty much able to do whatever they wanted to on Stanford, run the ball, throw the ball. But the thing that I think people know about UCLA is the defense. So we'll get into that as well. But yeah, UCLA 5-2 at 5-2 with 2 losses in the pack. 12 looking for some people looking to keep their win streak alive, whereas Colorado's looking back to getting on the winning side of things. So, man, let's talk about that UCLA offense versus the Colorado defense. So, before we jump into the UCLA offense, man, I wanted to ask you about the defensive secondary, man. Who's going to be okay? So, we got a plethora of players in that secondary that could
Right.
start. You know what I'm saying? So, like at safety, is it going? I know Shiloh's going to start, but is it going
Yep.
to be Woods, Ward, Salmon, Craig? Who's starting at safety?
Yeah. So you're gonna see I think, some new looks from the defense since maybe the last time you watched the Buffs. We'll have Shiloh and Roderick Ward playing back there in those traditional safety positions. I think you will see at the star position, which is kind of like a hybrid safety role. You'll
Mm-hmm.
see Cameron Silman Craig play there, um, along along with our transfer from Arkansas, who has been out but saw a little bit of time last game against Stanford. Miles Slusher there at the safety position, and then Travis Hunter is back. He wasn't. I don't think he was fully healthy.
I don't either.
You kind of saw him take some shots, man, in that Stanford game and play more than I think that we anticipated. He actually played over 160 snaps that Friday night, which is way more than he's played all year. So
Yeah.
him having 2 weeks off is going to be substantial. And Cormani McLean seems to be running full time right now with the first team. So you'll see, a rotation of cornerback players. I'm sure you'll see Cormani
Cooper.
out there or Marion Cooper, yeah, and then a
Okay.
little bit of Carter Stoutmeyer, our other true freshman as well out there. So secondary's getting healthy. I think the secondary is going to look solid. Coming back having 2 full weeks off.
Okay, so when we did our mid-season review of Colorado, a lot of the fans that watch were talking about some of the front sevens, bench players needing to get more time. So let's go to the linebackers. I know Ham, Mitchell, and Bentley pretty much been the top three, but are there going to be any of those bench players that maybe get in the rotation or even start this weekend?
Yeah. So another player that you mentioned earlier on, he actually transitioned to linebacker this last game against Stanford. If that gives you kind of any indication on where our inside linebacker play has been, Trevor Woods has now made that
Okay.
transition from safety up into linebacker. Playing a lot with Bentley Ham the other week. Demoy Kennedy, transfer from Alabama, probably our speediest linebacker, is coming back from injury. I'm not really sure how much we'll see of him. But again, Jawan Mitchell has made such a significant impact with this
Hmm.
defense, especially when it comes to the run game, and him getting more comfortable has been great. The issue is that we we haven't seen him our last two games against Arizona State, his previous school he was at, and Stanford. We don't know why. Coach Prime just asked or commented on it after the Stanford loss and says, you can ask Juju. Then we went to a bye week, so we don't
Oh,
we don't really know what's going on with that. I'm just hoping that he's back with the team because he has been by far our most dependable linebacker, especially in run coverage.
yeah, normally when coaches say you can ask the player, it's normally some kind of discipline or I'm not saying this is the case in Juju. I'm just saying in my time, watching college football, coaching high school and all that, normally when you say stuff like that, the guy's been late to practice or maybe even grades slip. I don't know what it is, but hopefully, like you said, the bye week gave him time to get right
Yeah.
because you guys are going to need it. Because coming into this game, you guys are the 87th ranked rush defense, giving up 157 yards a game. And that's what UCLA is going to want to do. They got Carson Steele and TJ Harden both averaging over 5 yards a carry and they're actually, really good at rushing the ball, man. I mean, they're a very balanced attack, though. That's one reason that makes them good. They're about 250 yards in the air, 220 on the ground. So they got some wide receivers, but the wide receivers, I think you got the personnel to hang with the J. Michael Sturdivants and the Logan Lova, and so a guy that doesn't get a lot of targets for them, but Matavo is their leading yards per catch guy. So he's like the big play guy whenever
Yes.
he's in the game. So I think it's going to be crucial, like you said, if Juwan Mitchell is playing, they got because like I say, they top 10 rush offense in the nation, and they're definitely going to be trying to run the ball. So hopefully he's gotten whatever the issue is, he's gotten it together, and he can play this week because I think that'll hurt the Buffs a lot if he's not playing.
Yes, most definitely. Their offense provides a lot of challenges for our defense. One thing, it's been kind of funny. We've seen Colorado kind of piece together partial games. That's been the theme of
Yes.
throughout the year. So you saw us mainly throughout this year kind of be more of a second half team. Stanford was really the only team that we've gotten off to a very fast start with, and then just took off the entire second half of that
Hmm.
game. And the big theme of it has just been, can we put together a complete game? We've had games in which we've had some decent pass coverage, but then we're giving up a ton in the run game. Actually, these last 3 weeks, we've been substantially better in the run game than we were our first 4 games.
Yeah.
If you just take our last 3 weeks, I think we've averaged somewhere between 3 and 4 yards a carry, so somewhere in that 3 point, which is substantially better than what we've been at earlier in the year, which was like 7 or 8 yards a carry. So this
Hmm.
is going to be a good test for us to see what if we've really truly made those improvements. That we're seeing on paper. The challenge that we faced, whether it's been against Stanford or Arizona State, USC is a little bit different. I mean, they didn't need to
Yeah.
run the ball on us with Caleb Williams, but if we're looking at ASU and Stanford, we were able to stop their run pretty significantly. The issue then has been not making their average quarterback play or below average quarterback play look like Heisman winners out there when they have to pass it out of necessity because what they're looking to establish isn't working. That's going to be a
Yeah.
big test for UCLA. I was feeling a little bit better about this matchup if they were to still go with Dante Moore, the true
Yeah. They
freshman.
moved to Garbers now. Yeah.
Um, and Garbers, he's a junior, provides a veteran presence. He had a very solid game against Stanford. I know it's
Yep.
Stanford, but you have to look at the fact that he was very efficient. 20 of
Hmm.
28 touchdowns, no interceptions,
Yep.
which is very important. But I like to think that that CU we can stop the run in an efficient manner. That is my hope. But right
Hmm.
now, going up against a team like UCLA that can run the ball like this, the last time that we saw an attack like this was Oregon. Obviously, they gave us big trouble.
Yeah.
Nebraska, we did a little bit better of a
Better.
job,
Yep.
but that's because they don't have,
Yep.
really an aerial threat going on. UCLA,
Yeah.
they have their tight end. Let me remind myself of his name because it's uh, Harbormel.
Yeah.
6'7". We've had issues covering tight ends all season long. That is who I'm more worried about in the passing attack rather than some of the receivers they got. I know you named off a handful of them. Kyle
Hmm.
Ford, I think he was a
Hmm.
USC transfer. He's another 6'3" guy. But we do have a pretty tall and rangy secondary that I feel like will match up. The key is really can we stop that run? And this time, can we get a little bit more of a pass rush this time
That's
around
yep.
to where
To
what
help the
Carver
secondary.
pass game? That's really been the issue.
Yeah. So man, and then if you guys can get some of that done, then you turn it over to the offense where we know the pass game is what the pass game has been. You guys pass offense is number 3 in the nation. You know what I'm saying? 346 yards a game, man. And if it wasn't for the bye week, Shador would still be leading the nation in passing. Even with the bye week, he was
Yeah.
leading so much that he's only dropped to number 4 in passing. Still number 2. That's overall, but still number 2 in passing yards per game. So the thing that I worry about is UCLA has the number 1 rush defense in the nation, and they're only giving up 68 yards a game. Now, you can look at it two ways. You guys are 126 in rushing offense, only 86 yards a game. And you could say, well, that really, then the number 1 rush defense doesn't really matter because we're not running the ball good anyway. You know what I'm saying? But they are pretty good in pass defense, more in the 49-50 range. So I think there's hey, I think Shadur is going to need to have a game. I think Henderson and Edwards need to run the ball a little bit just to keep them honest, but I don't think you need to go into the game looking for, big, amounts of rushing yards against this defense. What you thinking?
Yes. The run defense is what really terrifies me of going against this defense because, they should be able to shut this down pretty easily. I think one thing that we've incorporated a little bit more into the offense over the last few games that could work to our advantage and helping have a little bit more success is having Shador use his legs a little bit more.
Mhm.
I think that has been helpful in him. Kind of helping alleviate the pass rush a little bit as well. When you have a little bit more of at least a half decent running game, that helps out with that. Now, there's also some good news in terms of injuries, with having this bye week off. Our starting right tackle, 6'8", 6'9" guy, Savion Washington, who's probably been, in my opinion, our best offensive lineman this year. He is now
Mhm.
back and he will be in the lineup. And I don't have any information on this, but I would expect This is my hope that we could see some change with the interior guard play. Kareem Arden was a big JUCO guy that started at right tackle this past game against Stanford. I felt like he had a wonderful game. He is significantly larger than
Yeah.
who we have at left guard right now, or right guard. I would love to see him shift inside, along with Florida transfer that I think was going to compete immediately for one of these starting interior positions. David Connor is now back from a partially torn tricep injury that he suffered over the summer.
Hmm.
So maybe we might see him. Maybe we won't. I hope that we get to see him later throughout the year. But the other thing, with Shador, it all comes down to timing. Does he have the time in the pocket to find these receivers?
Yeah.
I would expect Travis Hunter to be at full speed now, having 2 weeks off, and he changes everything for us on
Always.
offense.
Yep.
Again, things in that second half against Stanford, nothing
Yeah.
for the team went well, but our third down rate, our conversion rate is so much higher with him on the field. He's really going to be a guy that we can throw a true jump ball to, where he can come down and get it. Shador's chemistry with him is,
Hmm.
unlike anything. Even like Zay Weaver, who's our leading receiver right now. There's a
Hmm.
dynamic to the offense that improves with him on the field. So as long as we can get a little bit more time for Shador, you've seen what he's been able to do. The key is can we alleviate that pass rush? Hopefully,
Hmm.
it's done with having somewhat of a half decent running game, so we can give them some different looks and some play action plays in which Shador's been extremely effective on all year.
Yeah, I'm looking hopefully OC Sean Lewis throws some quick hitters, to loosen up that defense a little bit, use it almost like an extension of the run game if the run game can't get going. I think Michael Harrison, if healthy, I don't know, I'm assuming he's healthy. I haven't heard
He's good.
anything, but okay. I think he's going to play a big role with a pass rush that UCLA has. The tight end a lot of times is one of the quarterback's best friends. So if he can have another big game along with Travis Hunter and the rest of those weapons on offense, I think that'll help, man. So now it's that time, man. We'll give us a couple of keys to the game and our predictions, man. So listen, both of these teams are pretty, I would say, below average in getting penalties. So UCLA gets about 7 a game and Colorado gets about 10 a game. Neither are in the top, half of college football. So I think penalties are going to play a part in this thing because, nothing is worse than, like a 3rd and 12 and you convert to a first down, but then there's a holding call and, now that backs you up again. Also, I think the other thing is I know they have the number 1 rush defense, UCLA. If Colorado wants any success, first down is going to play a key. Colorado currently is in the top 20 in first down offense. UCLA is in the top 15 in first down defense. So getting off to a good start on first down is my other key. It's like each drive. So you don't, you always want to win first down, but I think you want to do more than win. You want to get like winning the first down is getting 2+ yards. You know what I'm saying? No negative yards, but I think you want to be in that 3 to 4 yard range against this defense to kind of throw because it opens the playbook up as well. So those are my 2 keys: the penalties. Yes, whichever team can lessen some of these penalties, and this first down battle with the Colorado offense going against the UCLA defense. Give me a couple of things you think are key to this game.
Well, I'll half piggyback off your penalties key to the game. If anybody watching, if you got high blood pressure, do not watch this team play on special teams. No way. Some of our penalties are attributed to really dumb things like kicking it
Hmm.
out of bounds multiple times a game on kickoffs,
Yeah.
which is just so hard to still wrap my mind around how this is happening, especially this late in the season. But if Colorado can play a clean game on special teams,
Hmm.
that's going to do wonders, for their ability to stay competitive in this game. So often, even on our wins, really, if you take away uh, Nebraska, is really the only game in which we played a clean game on special teams.
Hmm.
Every game outside of that, special teams has been a net negative for us, and it's been something else that Shador Sanders has had to uh, has had to overcome, willing us to
Mm.
victories in these special team mistakes. So blocked punts, missed field goals, kicking it out of bounds, not kicking touchbacks. I do not understand, or penalties on kickoff and punt coverage. If we're able to just clean up that third phase of the game, we can cut our penalties in half. A lot of these games,
That'll be
which
huge, though. That'll
hard
be
to believe.
huge.
It's huge. So that is something that I'm really looking forward to. And then again, this isn't rocket science or anything like that, but if we are going to have success to go into the Rose Bowl, get that victory, two has to be taken care of. And if we can take care of him, regardless of what our running game looks like, I think we have a higher success rate if we do have a running game. But nonetheless, we can protect Shador, blocking as well as calling plays that get the ball out of his hand quickly. I think we
Hmm.
have a phenomenal chance to go in there and see a game kind of like what we saw week one against TCU
TCU.
and and Colorado. See a little bit of a shootout. I'm not going to predict a 40 points to 40 points type of thing, but I still see this game as being a one score game within the 30s, something like that. I'm just not. Yes, I'm a fan. Yes, I drink the Kool Aid, Coach I, but I didn't predict them to win against Oregon. I didn't predict them to win against USC. But darn it, I'm going to pick them to win coming off this bye week, baby. Getting this upset against a top 25 team. I mean, we need it. We got to bounce back from Stanford, and I'm really interested to see how this team and Coach Prime prepares this team. Coming out of the bye week after such a difficult loss 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
FanDuel has you guys as 17.5 point underdogs, which you referenced the TCU game is a little bit, less, but same feeling, you know what I'm saying? So
Right
you
there.
guys are going on the road, big underdogs. Utah was able to beat UCLA by stopping their run. They only allowed 9 rushing yards. Of course, I know that's not the type of defense you guys normally have, but if you can slow the run game down, hold them under 200 yards, which is where they want to be,
Yep.
then who knows? Oregon State was able to turn them over, but Dante Moore isn't the quarterback. He actually threw 3 interceptions that game. But who knows? This is only Garbers, second game starting, in a row, and he's only had a couple at UCLA. So maybe you guys can rattle him early. And who knows, what can happen if you guys get to right on. I think that, like I say, with the keys, those first downs, getting off to a fast start in the game itself, and getting off to a fast start on each drive, not playing slow. So hopefully it's like a Stanford first half, and like what I'm saying, like a Nebraska second half. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
Put the two halves together. So the over under, you said the game was going to kind of be in the 30s. The over under is 63.5. So that kind of would track, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah,
yeah.
the theme of this team is when are they going to play complete games? Again, we have 4 out of our 5 opponents left are all ranked. The one unranked being Arizona, which seems to be very hot, who seems to be very hot right now.
They are.
So we have to turn a corner. If we can't play 4 complete quarters, let's just get to 3. We might have a chance. If we
Yeah.
play or 3 complete quarters against some of these teams, but that's going to be the real key to victory. As we go into Saturday, hopefully with which is a sold out crowd in favor of the Buffs,
It
because
is. It is sold out. It is sold out at the
UCLA
Rose Bowl.
They don't want to make that 45 hour minute drive, outside of campus, down to the stadium, whatnot. Hopefully, this is filled with a ton of Prime fans, Colorado fans, and it helps give CU this a little bit of a boost being on the
Yeah.
road.
I think the point spread is 17 and a half. I'm going to take Colorado and the point spread. I think you guys have covered the spread. Unfortunately, I do think UCLA is going to get the win. If it was at Colorado, I probably pick Colorado. I've been watching the Pac-12. Hasn't been nice to the road teams. Other than y'all, when y'all beat TCU, and I think nope, they beat Utah at Oregon State. Oh, Washington State went to Arizona and lost big. And then yeah. They were at Arizona. No. So that was a road game. Yeah. No, that was in Washington. I'm sorry, that was in Washington State. Washington State.
It was.
Yeah, Arizona beat Washington State like 40 something to
44
7
to
or
6.
yeah. And Washington State. So outside of your game at TCU, that game, and I think UCLA went to the Utah went to the Rose Bowl and beat UCLA. The rest of the time, the road team. So maybe you guys pull out some of that TCU road magic. I definitely think I'm not a betting expert, so hey, this is a disclaimer. Don't be taking Coach
advice.
Yeah, don't take my advice. But I do think I think the Buffs cover for sure, man. Hey man, appreciate you coming on talking Buffs and Bruins with me, man. Hey, Colorado fans, Bruin fans, get in the comments. Let us know what you think. What do you think the keys to the game are? And pick a score prediction, man. 17 and a half favorites for UCLA, underdogs for Colorado. What are we thinking here? All right, man. Hey, y'all make sure to go over to David Talks Buffs, subscribe to his channel, check out the content daily. And this is Coach I with David Talks Buffs, man. We out of here.
Come rock with me. We got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on the fanatic, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?